Hey guys, and welcome back to another lesson. Today I'm going to talk to you about basically the piano equivalent of a guitarist's hammer-on and pull-off. Now these things are really kind of the core of piano playing. They introduce a lot of motion into the playing and make it a lot more interesting. There's a big difference between holding down like a C major chord and using these motions. What I'm going to do is give you a bunch of exercises that will help you build this kind of skill. Now we're going to be playing in C major, and we're going to look at basically let's say two chords for simplicity, a C major chord and an F major chord, although I can also add a G major. Basically all of the major chords built on this scale. Now everything I say about C major is going to be equally applicable to F major and G major, so I'm just going to mention them very briefly at the end, and we're going to focus on C major. Now this chord C major, C, E, and F is 3 notes. And what I'm playing now is called the root form of C major. It has C at the bottom. If I move this C up an octave, I get the first inversion of C major. Do it again, take the E, move it up an octave, the second inversion, and take the G, move it up, and I'm back in the root form. Now we're only going to use for this exercise the root form and the first inversion. And what I'd like you to start doing is basically alternate between the first inversion and the root form, going down the scale. You don't have to be fast. Speed always comes at the end. Form is much more important. So make sure you hit the keys evenly and cleanly. Now, the next step is we're going to play a pattern of these hammer-ons and pull-offs. So instead of just hitting the chord, we're going to hit the top 2 notes, the G and C, with the second and fifth fingers. And we're going to immediately switch the second finger to the third, playing an A, and then back, playing a G and an E. So now we're going to pivot over the thumb and hit these 2 notes, D and G, and immediately switch the D to an E. And then play a D and a C. So the position of the hand stays the same, but you're going to add some motion. You can add a sustain pedal. You don't have to hold all of the notes together. Once you hit these 2 notes up here, you can basically keep the C up or omit it. You can let it go once you have a sustain pedal going. You can do the same thing with an F. F in the root form, first inversion, second inversion. So and you can use the same form. And the same thing for G major. Now there are a couple of variations on this exercise. Again, start it very slowly and make sure your form is good before speeding up. Another variation is to play the notes more evenly. So again, you hit, it's the same shape. The rhythm of the notes is a little bit different. So you hit these two notes, G and C, A, G, E. Now you pivot over the thumb, hit these two notes, a D and a G, with the second and fifth fingers, E, D, C. And again you pivot. Again, the speed will come in time. Practicing things slowly initially is what will help you get these, evenly sounding kind of flicks. Same thing can be done with an F or a G. Here's a G. Now, you don't have to use these exercises in full when playing a chord. Let's say you're playing a C major. What these exercises do is they get your hands, your muscle memory, used to playing these hammer-on and pull-off patterns. So let's say you're hitting a C major chord. Let's do a little bit up here. And you're playing the first inversion of C in the right hand. So instead of just hitting a C, you can play this little part of the lick. And then you can maybe transition to an F. Let's say that you're doing an F. So for the F, what I'm doing is I'm again taking the root form of F and I'm using the exercises we've played to get you used to experimenting with different patterns. You don't have to play all of them, you can just do the first two notes in the pattern. Or you can break it up. Instead of playing something like this, you play this first and then the last two notes. Or you can play it in even tempo. Or an inversion. You can alternate between the bass and the chord. Don't overdo it. Things get boring when they're overdone, but you can just add it as, a little bit here, a little bit there, a couple of times, not too much. Many of these patterns are translatable to other chords and other keys. Let's say a B flat major. Instead of just playing a B flat major, you can play the same pattern that you played for the C major in the root form. This is a B flat major in the root form, and you can play this. And again, you can break it up. You can keep, when playing the B flat major or the C major or any of the chords, you can keep the top note either played or not played throughout the pattern. Just gives it a little bit more body. there you have it, a couple of ideas and exercises on how to practice your hammer-ons and pull-offs and add some motion to your play. Hope that was useful and interesting, and I will see you next time.